The first major wagon train sets out on the Oregon Trail on this date. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is May 16th, 2023. It is the 136th day of the year. There are 229 days left in 2023. It's the 20th Tuesday in the 20th week in the 58th day of spring. You got 36 days left until summer. And it is still blazing hot here in Portland, Oregon. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's hot here. Today is National Ride a Unicycle Day. Ride a Unicycle Day is celebrated on May 16th in the United States every single year. It is a fun holiday meant to encourage more people to try the unicycle, an unconventional means of transportation. That's what it says from the website. I can ride a unicycle. I actually have a 6-foot tall unicycle, and I'm not allowed to ride it anymore. My wife's afraid I'm going to break my head open and the money train stops. I haven't had a normal unicycle, a small one, in, I don't know, since I was probably 20. I should get another one of those. I could ride a small one without breaking my head. All right, let's see what else May 16th has given us. 1771, the Battle of Alamance, a pre-American Revolutionary War battle between local militia and a group of rebels called the Regulators, occurs in present-day Alamance County, North Carolina. 1842, the first major wagon train heading to the Pacific Northwest sets out on the Oregon Trail from Elm Grove, Missouri, with 100 pioneers. The Oregon Trail was a 2,000-mile east-west large-wheeled wagon route and immigrant trail in the United States that connected Independence, Missouri with the valleys in Oregon. The trail was used by thousands of settlers, farmers, miners, ranchers, and business owners with their families from 1941 to 1969. Now, this happened, the first major one set out in 1942. There was a trickle of 2 or 3 here or there prior to this, but this was the first major wagon train. The Oregon Trail was first used by fur traders and trappers in the early 1800s. In 1836, a missionary party led by Marcus and Narcissa Whitman became the first wagon train to travel the entire length of the trail. The Whitmans were forced to abandon their wagon 200 miles short of Oregon, but they proved that families could go west by wheeled travel. In 1843, that's when about 1,000 people organized in Independence, Missouri, with plans of reaching Oregon. This group, known as the Great Emigration, effectively opened the floodgates of pioneer migration along the Oregon Trail. Now, they trickled out, 100 the first day, and then, a couple days later, some more went out, and they'd catch up with each other on the trail, and at some points, these parties got pretty big, which was good, because there's safety in numbers, and this was really a wild land at the time. It wasn't just they had to worry about the Native Americans or animals, they had harsh weather, disease. It was a pretty rough trail. However, the lure of free land and a better life in the West was too strong for many people to resist. By the end of the 1840s, nearly 50,000 people had traveled the Oregon Trail. The trail continued to be used until the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869. The Oregon Trail was a major turning point in American history and a pretty good video game back in the 1980s. It helped to settle the American West and played a role in the expansion of the United States. The trail is also a reminder of the courage and determination of pioneers that traveled it. There's a channel called Mr. Beat, B-E-A-T, not Beast, Mr. Beat. His name's Matt Beat. He was a school teacher. Now he's a full-time YouTuber. I met up with him. He traveled the Oregon Trail with his family, I think it was last summer, and he tried to do it kind of add a little hardship to it. These days, there's very little hardship along the Oregon Trail. I mean, it's highways and everything. So he decided to do it in a Tesla, which would kind of challenge him a little bit, having to find the places to get recharged. And he said it got pretty scary sometimes. He thought he was going to be stuck in the middle of the, Wyoming outback or whatever with a Tesla and his family. But I'll leave a link for that video down below. It's pretty interesting. 1866, the United States Congress establishes the nickel. 1868, the United States Senate fails to convict President Andrew Jackson by 1 vote. Yes, he was the first president to be impeached, but not convicted. 1918, the Sedition Act of 1918 is passed by the U.S. Congress, making criticism of the government during wartime an imprisonable offense. It will be repealed less than 2 years later. Yeah, it kind of went against the, whole freedom of speech thing in the Constitution. 1951, the first regularly scheduled transatlantic flight between Idlewild Airport, now John F. Kennedy International Airport, in New York City and Heathrow Airport in London, operates by El Al Israel Airlines. 1960, Theodore Maiman operates the first optical laser, a ruby laser, at Hughes Research Laboratories in Malibu, California. 1988, a report by the Surgeon General of the United States, C. Everett Koop, states that the addictive properties of nicotine are similar to those of opioids, and can't say the word, but it was a powdery substance that was very popular in the 1980s. I can't say the word because it'll demonetize the channel, but Robin Williams referred to it as devil's dandruff and the Colombian marching powder. If anyone's unfamiliar with what that is, I'm sure someone's going to leave the proper term in the comment section below. And yes, the YouTube algorithm now picks up audible words, not just written words in the comment section and the description area. 2011 STS-134 is launched from Kennedy Space Center on the 25th and final mission of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. Movies released on May 16th, 2002, Star Wars Attack of the Clones. So this was part of the second batch of Star Wars movies, the second trilogy, which in reality was like prior to the first series. It just always bugged me they did that. Do them in order. Anyway, so this series of prequels, trilogy, whatever it was horrible. At the time, I saw the first one and I thought, okay, it's all right. Then this one was all right again. Then the third one sucked to high heaven. And I honestly don't know what the people at George Lucas were thinking about doing this. I mean, Hayden Christensen, the guy who played Anakin Skywalker, oh my God, he was annoying. Jar Jar Binks was annoying. The whole concept of building the clone army and that whole part was really cool. And I loved Ewan McGregor in it, but there was just so many things that everyone hated. Anyway, this entry into the Star Wars franchise sees Anakin Skywalker embarking on a forbidden romance with Queen Padme. The film made over $649 million worldwide. In my opinion, I think if this would have been a little more like the first trilogy, it would have made double that. Word got out quick that this series sucked. Now, in the latest batch of Star Wars movies, they've gotten a lot better. Attack of the Clones was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. The movie became the first installment in the franchise showing Yoda using a lightsaber, and that was pretty entertaining. I'll give them that. If you're into Star Wars, you've seen it. If you're just getting into Star Wars, you kind of have to see it. I mean, there's 9 movies in the original type series. They've got a little branch off things now, but you got to see this one just because it's part of the thing. Watch the second series first, then watch the first series second, and then watch the third series. Born on May 16th, 1986, Megan Fox, actress and model who had her breakthrough role in Transformers, for which she won a National Movie Award for Best Performance by a Female in 2007. She received additional fame for starring in the 2009 film Jennifer's Body, which was pretty good. She played the lead character, April O'Neil, in the 2014 film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and she got blackballed from Hollywood. Now, there's no proof of that, but it's pretty apparent. It turns out when people verbally attack their boss and it gets back to them, they might get reprimanded or fired. When a movie star criticizes a high-powered director, it just might get them blacklisted throughout Hollywood. And that's kind of what happened to her. She was doing an interview for a British magazine in 2009, and Fox issued a controversial reply to a question about working with Michael Bay, the director of the Transformers. And I quote, "He's like Napoleon, and he wants to create this insane, infamous madman reputation." Then she went on to say, "He's like Hitler on the set." Then she went on to say, "He wants to be like Hitler on his sets," and he is. Yeah, she was at the top of her career, and she frickin' disappeared after that little incident. That's the funny thing about Hollywood and really a lot of industries. About the time you think you're irreplaceable and untouchable, you get replaced. Now, she made, I wouldn't say a comeback, but she did get some work. This is 40, which was pretty good. And that was in 2012, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, which were okay kid films. Those are 14 and 2016. New Girl, she's on that for a while. Other than that, since she said that about Michael Bay, there's really been nothing. Jonah Hex had potential. It's a DC comic movie, but that didn't do really good. Yeah, prior to that little misstep, she was killing it in Hollywood. She was a big star. Now she's been reduced to, I don't know, I wouldn't say B movies, but pretty freaking close. Hey, it's also Tucker Carlson's birthday. He was born in 1969. We all know him. He's been fired from every single one of the major cable news channels now. CNN fired him, MSNBC fired him, and then just recently, Fox fired him. You see him on the show, and his politics are a little over the top for me, but that's just me. Everyone, whatever you're into. I saw a video of him. Some guy found him in New York City just practicing fly fishing at a pond. And it was kind of interesting because that's not the Tucker Carlson you see on TV. He was just a dude out at a pond practicing his fly fishing by himself, minding his own business. The guy that was filming him talked to him for a minute and he just seemed really decent. Died on May 16th, 1984, Andy Kaufman. Or maybe he didn't. There's a lot of controversy there because Andy Kaufman liked to pull great pranks on the world. A lot of people think he faked his death and that he plans on coming back at some point. Better hurry. I mean, he was born in 1949, so, he's getting up there in age. He's about 74 right now if he's still alive. Maybe he plans on coming back to life on his 40th anniversary of his death, which is next year. But if Andy Kaufman did die, which I'm sure he did, he died of lung cancer, a rare form. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.